Hey folks, Alex here, 95 to Freedom. Today's video we're going to discuss, is it actually possible to retire on Yieldmax funds? If you're new to Yieldmax funds, Yieldmax, wow, I can't even talk, is a fund manager basically that does options on various volatile stocks, and they pay you the premium. So they have lots of different options on the different underliers that you want to do. They have weekly funds, monthly funds, all sorts of good stuff. If you're watching it, most likely you're familiar to this type of funds. So what I want to talk about today is, can you actually retire on them? Now, I personally invest in some of these Yieldmax funds, and I want to talk about my portfolio and what I think doing this after 7 months, what my opinion is, and I guess my theory going forward. So I want to talk about that now. Let's take a look here. Okay, so before we get into that, S&P 500, folks, we are at all-time high. Okay, all-time high on the S&P 500, 63.09 a share. This is crazy, and we don't know what's going to happen. Are we going to keep climbing? Is this going to be a bubble? What's happened? Now we had the pullback with the tariffs, right, earlier this year, back in April. So that was interesting. All right, let's talk about some of these Yieldmax funds. So, can you actually retire on them? Well, one of the popular ones is MSTY. Okay, this one's underlier on Misty. We talked about this one in the previous video. As you can see, we're floating around $21. And another one I talked about is Alti. Okay, so Alti actually today had quite a bit of a drop, and I was a little bit shocked seeing that. I was kind of watching this happen and my portfolio going down. I was a little bit nervous, nevertheless. But what is the plan here? Do I think I can retire on these funds? I'll show you my portfolio, folks. So this is my portfolio for those folks who are new. Right now, my account value is as follows. I have cash, $154,788, and I have on margin $113,595. Now, I have quite a bit of a pullback this week. Last week, I took over $10,000 in distributions. I used it to pay down some of my debt. This week, we had 2 red days in a row. Ulti had a pullback. Misty had a pullback from last week. So it's been kind of red. And yeah, so that's kind of what's going on here. So as you can see, my largest position is in Ulti, $157,000 in Ulti. And I am down 0.5% on my position. And really, I mean, it was great last week. We were up to like $6.40, what was it, 40 some cents. And today we had quite a bit of a drop. So that, obviously raises the question, is this viable solution? Will Ulti last me through retirement? Now, Ulti only been around for a little bit over a year. So it's really hard to say what's going to happen with it. What we know right now is the fund is pretty stable since April. It's paying out great dividends, around 9 to 10 cents a share. But is this going to last? Now, my opinion, this is where, none of this financial advice, folks. This is just my opinion. My opinion is that I'm going to get the hay as the sun is shining. So as long as these funds are holding up right now, I'm going to capitalize and get those magical gains. If we look at Ulti, right now, this one is paying over 85% in dividends. So very tough to find funds that pay 85%. I mean, if one of the most popular dividend funds among the community is SCHD from Charles Schwab. Now this one, it pays like 3.5% or something stupid like that. Okay, but it grows. It's a growth fund with a small dividend attached to it. So a lot of folks like this fund. Now, do I like SCHD? Potentially, but it's not something that I'm going to hold right now. And I'll tell you why. So my theory right now is I'm going to get as much dividends as I can. I'm going to pay off my personal debt and then start growing this account. Now, like I said, as the hay is out there and the sun is shining, I'm going to get as much out of these high yield dividends. Okay, so my portfolio, most of it's in Alti. I have QDT, BTCI, MSTY, XDT, and SMCY. Okay, so look, um, XDTE and QDT, these are from Roundhill. Now these are much less payout, right? So they pay between 30 to 35%, but they're a lot less volatile. They're more diverse. And QDT, that's on the QQQ, the NASDAQ, the 100 tech companies, and XDT is on the S&P 500. Now, as you can see, I'm down on XDT because I bought it right before the tariff. So I didn't DCA and I just went lump sum, and unfortunately, I got it at a high price. So moral of the story is, I think this is going to be my strategy, folks. I'm going to utilize this yield max stuff right now. I'm going to get us as much in dividends as I can. Now, once I reach the next level, and the next level is going to be, okay, so I'll pay off my personal debts, I'll pay off my house, and then this is the point where I want to have a stable income. Before I leave my job, I want to make sure that I am making stable income, that it's not volatile, that it's proven. And some of the funds that I really like that I've held in the past this year was QQQI. This is from Neos. If you look at this one, as you can see, we had that pullback back in April, $43. But look at that recovery. It recovered up to $52.91, and this fund started at $50. This fund pays around, I don't know, like 14%, I think, in dividends. Yeah, 14.6%. So it's much lower than Alti, obviously, but it's been around also about the same time since Alti, February 2024. But as you can see, the charts are very different between Alti. Alti started at $20. We are down to $6. This one, we are up since its inception, and it's been paying dividends. So this is one that I think once I get into that stage 2, I want to buy more shares of something like this, and then also something like SPY Eye. This one is on the S&P 500. Look at this chart. Started out 48.60. We're up $51.16. As you can see, we had that big dip, and then it recovered out of it. So really liking these two funds from Neos. Now, going back to my portfolio, I have a Neos fund, which is BTCI. And this one has been an amazing performer because the underlier is Bitcoin. And we're up over 12% on this fund. So this one's been really carrying the weight with some of the pullbacks that we've seen with the other ETFs. So yeah, so I think that's going to be my plan, really. We're going to continue to mine as much as we can out of Alti. I hope Alti lasts. I hope Alti goes to $12, $15, $20, whatever. But it hasn't been long enough, and it's very tough to say what 20, 30 years from now is going to look like. Now, something like SCHD, it's been a proven thing that's been going on for many, many years. This fund looks like came out in 2011. And it was $8.49, and now we're up to $27. Obviously, it doesn't pay as much, but the stability and the direction that it's moving is very positive, and I can see why folks like it. Now, some other ones that I've held before is something like JPQ, and this is another one that seems to do very well now. As you can see, some really harsh pullbacks that we had with the tariffs. But yeah, it's another one that's a sideways and up type of mover. So this one pays, I believe, around, I think like 10 to 12%. Let's take a look here. Let's pull up JP Morgan. Okay, so this one is paying, let's see here, 11%. Okay, so this one's paying around 11%. And this one's been around the block for quite a bit. Okay, so it's been around since 2022. And, this is another one that might be a good long-term hold. I can see something that's been around for for over 3 years, and it's been paying dividends. It's been stable, going sideways and up, and I can see diversifying into something like this in the future. For now, like I said, we're gonna mine out of these yield maxes. We're gonna keep an eye on them. A good example is SMCY, right? I bought this at the wrong time. It's down 16%. I'm waiting for it to recover. If it's going to fail to recover, I'll just dump it and I'll buy something else, something like Ulti or whatnot. So if you look at SMCY, this fund started at $50 and we're down to $20, and it's been floating around $20 since April. So yeah, so that's really the opinion that I have. I think the answer I'm going to give to the question, can you retire on yield max? And that's going to be maybe. And if I was in a position today to have the money that I need and the income that I need from these funds, leave my job and have everything, and say something like Alti or Misty, I don't know how comfortable I would be. I would say that for me personally, again, not financial advice, I could see it having these yield maxes funds be in a position, right? Something like 10 to maybe 20% of my portfolio, something that gives me the upside, but something that is a little bit lower risk. If I had $1 million right now, would I put everything on Alti? I'm not sure I would do that. I would think I would still want to diversify. So that's my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do we have anybody who watches this channel who actually retired on YieldMax? I'd like to hear your story, and leave a comment below. Before we wrap this up, I just wanted to touch real quick on the portfolio. Again, we had a pullback today. We are down under our $160,000 target, and my margin is kind of high. So I really don't like seeing that. So my plan for tomorrow is I'm gonna see if we're gonna have a little bit of a rally, a little bit of a recovery from the last 2 days downs, and if we can get back up to our $160,000 range that we'd like to be in, and possibly even lower the margin position. So that might involve selling something that I'm in the green with. So let me know what you think in the comments about everything we discussed today. And again, shout out to all my new subscribers. Thank you for watching, and have a great evening, folks.